How do you deal with the business side of that? You know, different record companies, different agents, different, you know.
It's a whole, I don't deal with it. That's why I got people to do that. So it's too much. It's so much because you have to deal with every record label that every record label that, like for instance, for one artist, you have to deal with the record label. You have to deal with their lawyer or lawyers. You have to deal with their manager or managers. You have to deal with their assistant or assistants. I talk to the artist. That I love that. That's my thing. If I like to talk to the artist first about the project. If the artist gives me the green light, then I go to my manager and they start the little climb of everything. You know what I mean? They talk to their manager. Okay, then boom, boom, boom. Then you talk to their lawyer, and then boom, 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 boom. You know, and then it becomes a process.
All right. So you got people for that.
Absolutely.
You're part of the creative process.
I just have to be creative. Yeah, because if I really tried to do that part too, I wouldn't get an album done. It's really hard. And you have things that you don't even have anything to do with. Like the record label I'm on, right? If so-and-so, this has happened before. I'm not going to name any names. There was a record label.
Oh, name some names.
There's a record label for Black Radio 2, for instance. There was a record label that had 4 artists that I'm using. I recorded the song already. Song is done. The record label didn't like my record label because they had some record label beef years ago. So they were like, we're not going to clear it. So we want this, we want this, we want this. And it was like outrageously what they were talking about.
Yeah. And
they weren't going to clear it. And then my record label had to be like, yeah, well, if you want so-and-so who's on our label to be on so-and-so's album, you're going to have to, and it was all that kind of stuff. That's nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. You're like, oh, you serious? It's so terrible. But that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with labels. Sometimes if my record's coming out a certain year, they don't want their artists, they don't want to compete with their artists competing with the record.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they'll be like, well, it has to come out the next year or the year before. You know what I mean? So it can't, So if it's supposed to come out 2014, they're like, well, it has to come out 2013. That's what happened. I had to put Black Radio 2. No, I had to put Black Radio 2 out a year later than I wanted to because that record label with those 4 artists, when they finally broke down, they were like, you have to wait a year. So I waited a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which makes it